The last paper, saya dah kau tim dengan Dato' Satri ni, kalau boleh not more than 50 minutes. Tajuk kertas yang akan dibentangkan oleh Profesor Dato' Syatri Mansur ialah Blockchain Technology and Geospatial Industry. Profesor Dato' Syatri Mansur is currently the Director of Geospatial Information Research Center at UPM. He maintains a diverse research interests, includes feature extraction from satellite imagery, spatial decision support system, UAV-based remote sensing, disaster management and early warning system. Dr. Satri has also supervised and co-supervised a total of more than hundreds master and PhD students. Dr. Satri holds membership to various organizations and institutions. He has served as a counselor for the Institution of Surveyor Malaysia, and editor of the Journal of the Malaysian Surveyors, and an executive committee for ISO TC 211 under SIRIM. He is currently the editorial board member of the International Journal of Geomatic. Please, Professor Dato' Syatri.
Thank you, Tuan Haji. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bonjour. Pagi ni tiba-tiba bangun terasa nak cakap French. Ramai dah tukar camp ke French. Cuma apa? Cuma I tahu apa? Beberapa word je. So bonjour, merci. Of course lah, télédétection and French fries. Alright, session ni on the technology and innovation. So biasanya most of my talk in probably on the innovation. Yeah, maknanya when come to innovation of our work, so we can do nice storytelling. Tapi hari ini I'll talk on blockchain technology, and of course this time most likely I will read the slide. Quite new to me, baru last year. Involved dalam blockchain technology, and of course the co-author is an IT guy, so well versed in the blockchain. Blockchain technology, of course, we can do R&D and project, and of course sebagai menyahut cabaran from my pesara tadi, Puan Azlina tadi, pesara kena apa? Aktif, stay active. So ini probably sebahagian daripada apa? Line pesara. Keep us active. Right. Basically, blockchain technology. There are many startups and applications in supply chain, tracking, and so on. Education, big data, IoT. Music, energy, healthcare, and of course we try to explore on the geospatial industry. But then last 2 weeks we discussed with a few fund managers. So we come to geospatial industry, they're quite reluctant to fund because most of the players are in government agency. Of course, there are so many rules and regulations. But so probably in other applications which direct with the public, they want quite so-called, they are willing to fund, right? All right, basically when we have a seller and buyer, all right, and then of course we introduce some form of smart contract, right? And of course, this asset could be, in this case, geospatial data, yeah? Right? So here, I mean, you have some form of technology whereby it's composed of some mathematical functions which create a secure and definite record of who owns what and when, right? So the decentralized trust from banking for various sectors and of course connecting every network of services. So for the past 2 days, semalam dah ini, I ingat banyak agensi cerita collect data, ada database. Of course, mostly centralized database. So the concept blockchain is the decentralized database, and of course, for us, how we can monetize the data, all right? So rather than collect simpan, so why not kita jadikan sebagai apa macam commodity, ya? So that's the asas presentation, right? So the technology you can always Google. There are so many white paper now. So work with every type of transactions, including money, goods and property, and of course geospatial information or geospatial data. All right. So when someone requires a transaction, all right, and then some form of broadcast in the P2P, peer-to-peer, then of course involves some validation, all right, and then verification, and then come to the cryptocurrency. So it could be coins or tokens, and then of course, finally, we can complete the transaction, right? So that's the flow, yeah? And of course, digital currency, way back in 1933, kita dah ada DigiCash in 1989, and then PayPal, still available. And of course, Bitcoin, yang quite popular. So, but in the market right now, there are so many currency being introduced. So, ada 1,587 coins and tokens now, right? So you have also Ethereum, yeah, Dash Ethereum. Right, so you have either coin-based or token-based, right? And of course, coin-based, there are many coins in the market right now. And we have various types of e-wallets, so hardware wallet, paper wallets, desktop wallet, and so on. Yeah, right. So one of the tools is proof of location. So basically designed to provide spatial protocols, standards, and applications that bring geospatial data to blockchains, right? So we have crypto-spatial coordinate standard right now, spatial index and visualizer web app, and also proof of location, right? And of course, you can apply in IoT, geospatial data, supply chain, right? Mobility, location intelligence, insurance, right? So one of the ideas is to come up with, to propose the startup in geospatial related industry, MapBlock, right? So basically will involve geospatial data, maps, imageries, right? So for analysis or for visualization and so on. And of course, the task is how to make it available to everyone in a decentralized and permission manner using blockchain, right? So a proof of record also possible, and also it will provide a distributed mechanism to log in data, making data verifiable and independently auditable, right? And so of course here a client can define chains of entries, right, validation and so on, and usefulness ranging from ready access to maps, right, in whatever application, disaster management and so on. And then of course could provide support for doing transaction of data sharing. So like, for example, now we have so many data collector having UAV, right? UAV imaging, right? And of course, positioning work, right? By private companies. Yeah? So data generators, right? So either from UAV or from LiDAR and so on, could deposit data into a crypto-spatial coordinate, right? Encrypt and decrypt, right? Backup with space tokens. And of course, you can set the price, right? So data could include, right, UAV images, map, parcel, land parcel, beam, and so on, right? And of course, we go to this components. So we have map tiles, the software, the data, and also the data access. I'll go quickly, ya. Tuan Haji sebab dia dah order token, jadi kita kena ikut, ya. Right, two types, raster vector, right? And then, of course, the software, there are many public domain software which we could utilize. For example, Google Maps API, right? And then, of course, the data could be point data, raster vector, all right? Could be statistical data and so on. And access, right? Access, we should provide decentralized and on-demand access to geospatial data, all right? And then the access will be based on a list of tokens that the user's client can submit in order to get the required access. So the proof of concept, of course, will contain multiple sources of information, all right, ranging from maps, geospatial data, text, and images, right? And of course, information could be retrieved automatically, yeah, based on their location and context. So using usage scenarios for the map block here. So you can publish public geospatial data on the map block. You can exchange private geospatial data between private entities on the map block. And also, you can exchange private data between a department and its staff. Yeah? So we go quickly the details. How is it? By publishing this data on the map block, any organization can take advantage of the properties of the blockchain to ensure that the authoritative version of the data set is available in the decentralized, immutable repository. Yeah? Then, of course, private data between private entities, right? So often situation where two or more data collector agencies agree to share their spatial data for mutual benefit, so can be done. And then within the organization also can do in the so-called secured way, yeah? Right. So in general, so the data collection sources, so can be in many modes, right? And then of course we have blockchain server normally will keep probably metadata, all right? And then of course you can do the broadcast to user, buyer or seller, all right? And so the stakeholders, the involvement here, we have private investor, all right, project initiator and so on, and we have government institution and so on. And of course, the asset is the data, and then the tool is basically rearranging or providing secure access and secure trading platform. Yeah. So a graphical presentation of geospatial data business model as a supplier of geospatial or GIS data, right? So, for example, here, step 1, GIS data exchange acquires map block tokens, right? And stick it to device in a marketplace, right? And then customer be able to access and opt in to the services, and then data exchange gets the data, all right? And then signal the service event via any apps, mobile app and so on. And then customer is paid in map block tokens, currency, for the service offered. Yeah? And then, of course, as GIS data exchange, we get the value of the service, capacity, balancing, frequency, and so on. Yeah? And of course, this is consumer models, all right? Step 1, consumer A and consumer B, so we can always exchange with some token, yeah, all right? Right, so summary. So advantage of so-called geospatial data on blockchains, ready access to maps in crisis situation, provide support for doing transaction of data sharing, right, for any type of data. You could, data collector agency or data generators could deposit data into crypto-spatial coordinates, right, so secure there. Of course, back it with tokens and then set pricing mechanism, right? And then, of course, here data, as I mentioned earlier, include satellite data, UAV images, maps, land parcel, all right, beam, and so on, yeah? And as a summary, so blockchains usually contains financial transaction, all right? Exists over peer-to-peer network, all right? Uses cryptography and digital signatures to provide identity, authenticity, and enforce read and write access right. Can be written by certain participant, you cannot tamper, yeah? Can be read by a certain participant, a wider audience in this case, and of course has a mechanism to make it hard to change historical records, right? And, or at least make it easy to detect when someone is trying to do so, right? With that, I end my presentation. Thank you.
Terima kasih, Profesor Dato'